Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I'm the editor here at MetaStellar. And here we have AMIRA LOUTFI with us today, our reviews editor. Thanks, AMIRA, for joining me. I love it when I'm not up here by myself, talking out into the void of YouTube. Every Friday, a bunch of us here at MetaStellar read the top 10 free sci-fi and fantasy books on Amazon. And today, AMIRA and I were reading, as well as our news editor, Alex KOROLOV, and one of our community members, Nicholas Nibertovsky. Unfortunately, neither Alex nor Nick could be here for this taping, but Nick's latest book, the second book in his series, is out for advanced reader copies, and I just downloaded mine, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Congrats, Nick. And look at what I got in the mail. It's our print proof copy of the first year anthology of the best short stories of the year from MetaStellar. And so we printed it with draft to digital, and they used Lightning Source on the back end. And it looks awesome. It looks like and feels like a real book. So I'm like super stoked. And now you can't order it yet because we still have to do a final proofs. We've got a big editorial meeting tomorrow where we're going through it and picking everything apart. I already found an extra quotation mark that shouldn't have been there. And then we're gonna submit the fixes. We're gonna have a long interview with Marie Leclerc and Jordy Moore, and Jordy, our original fiction editor. He is being interviewed along with Marie by Andrea Goyen and Evie King, who are the Lifelong Friends show hosts. So that's going to be coming up. We'll get that scheduled as soon as we have a final publication date for the book. So very excited. Stay tuned. If you want to be part of the MetaStellar community, all the links are in the description box below. You could submit short stories. You can be a part of our editorial team. You can help us out with the reviews. You can send us money. The Patreon link is down there as well. But yeah, so I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to show everybody the physical book. It literally came in the mail like 2 hours ago. Yeah, and I highly recommend the draft to digital process. It was really easy to do, and it took me like just a couple of days to get the proof in the mail. So they were awesome. I highly recommend it. All right, so on to today's stories. We've got wizards, space fleet battles, bridges to the worlds, a sexy shape-shifting crocodile, of all things, and dragons. For those who are new to our channel, MetaStellar is an online magazine of speculative fiction. All the content is always free to our readers. We publish original short fiction and reprints and excerpts, as well as essays and lots of book reviews like today's. We are able to do this thanks to the generous support of our Patreon contributors. Thanks, guys. We love you. All right, let's get started with today's books. Let me see if I can pull up the picture. Here we go. This is Caged by Sophie Davis. Oh, maybe I can make it bigger for you guys so you can see it. There we go. This is the second book of 8 books in a Talented saga, a young adult dystopian series. The first book, Talented, is also free today. The other books are $4 to $5 each, but they're not in Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited, for those who don't know, is you pay $10 and you read as many books as you want. Most books on the sci-fi bestseller lists are in Kindle Unlimited, including all the Harry Potter books. So this is definitely something that is super useful for people who read a lot of books. So AMIRA, you read this one. What did you think?
I really liked the backstory and the explanation for how all of these young people became like developed superpowers. Basically, it's about a young girl who has superpowers. She lives in a world 100 years ago. She lives in our world basically, but 100 years ago, there were a bunch of nuclear waste contaminated the entire world, and animals, bugs, plants, they started to develop really awful deformities. Some of the deformities didn't seem that bad, like plants started like glowing and stuff. And the children who were born also came out different. And so 100 years later, we have our story, and these super children have dwindled in number, and they are now organized into training programs by a government department known as TOXIC, toxic. That's the abbreviation for it, which I think is really cute. Yeah, so I really like the backstory. The part that I don't like is the story about the protagonist herself. It just seems very much like a young adult novel, I guess. So yeah, I guess I'm not really into the young adult stuff. There's I don't know, she has like an affectionate relationship with her boyfriend. There's a hazing ritual that, opens the story. She's caught off guard by hazing. I don't know, it's just not really like my thing. So I won't be coming back, but it's a really popular series. So other people like it a lot. And yeah.
All right. Next we have Ink Witch by Lindsey Sparks. And there's the cover. The first of 6 books in the Cat Du Bois Chronicles, which is an urban fantasy series. The other books are $4 each, and they are not in Kindle Unlimited. And we've actually reviewed this book before because it's been on this list, and she's had other books on this list as well. Last month, it was Legacy of the Lost, another urban fantasy series. So definitely an author who people like, and I love this book. So urban fantasy is one of my favorite genres. I love books with kick-ass women on the cover. Leather pants, I'm torn on those. Not very practical, but I guess it's the end look for kick-ass women who battle monsters and stuff. So Cat Du Bois is a retired immortal god assassin, and these days she owns a tattoo parlor and occasionally reads tarot cards for a living. She's also a god of time, or a demigoddess of time, descended from an ancient Egyptian god. And she's doing a reading for a client, and she discovers that the pictures on her cards have changed. All the pictures are now of her friends and relatives. Another old friend shows up, another demigod, Nick, and he tells her that her half-brother Dom has disappeared. Nick is thousands of years old, the oldest of their kind. And I don't like him because he smirks. I hate the word smirk, and I hate characters who smirk. I particularly hate characters who look like they're going to be romantic leads who are smirking all over the place. And she is an assassin, so she might kill him. I'm not going to give it away, but okay, no, I'm going to give it away. She doesn't kill him. She winds up together with him. So so a cop shows up. He asks for her help to find some missing homeless kids, and one of her magic powers is finding people, and she occasionally helps police as a psychic. So she turns down the cop because she's going to look for Dom, but she's going to look for the kids anyway. So I finished the book, and it was awesome. I didn't finish it today. I finished it the last time it came up on this list. And so there's 3 books that came before this one, the Echo trilogy, which you might also want to check out. And I've already picked up another book by the author, a lit RPG book, All World Online, Pride and Prejudice. So I recommend it, and I had fun with it. Next, we have Black Spark by Alkaline. Alkaline, get it? Ha ha. So this is the first of 8 books in the Dark Magic Enforcer Urban Fantasy series. The other books are $4 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. So Alex says that this book will appeal to fans of urban fantasy. It takes place in the UK, a modern day UK, except that it has wizards, vampires, and other magical creatures. And the story's told in the first person by Faz Pound, a wizard with amnesia. And the book starts out with Faz committing a murder, and then he's like stumbling around town trying to figure out what's going on and why he lost his memory. So Alex says here are the first few chapters, and it wasn't enough to get him interested in the book. But he says that maybe it's something other people might want to read. And actually, it looks like my kind of book. It reminds me a little bit of the Dresden Files. So I plan to go and check it out this weekend, if I have time. Next, we have another book which I read, which is not my type of book, Crocs Returned by Eve Langlais. The first of 4 books in the Bitten Point paranormal romance series. The other books are $4 each, and they are not in Kindle Unlimited. And I don't know if you guys can tell on the book cover, but there's a crocodile there behind the naked guy. Because it's a shifter romance book, a shifter romance with crocodiles. So that's new. All right, so my usual disclaimer, not a fan of shifter romance, naked men covers, none of that. But hey, I've got an open mind. I can give it a shot. So the book starts out with Caleb, and he served in the military for a few years, and he just retired, and he's coming home, and so what happened was his father was killed. Also, he was in the military. Before his father could teach him how to deal with how to be a shapeshifter, and he bit somebody, so he split, joined the military, left behind his girlfriend, dumped her, and just left. Figured she was better off without him, and he's been having some issues dealing with stress and anxiety and flashbacks and stuff. Before this book starts, Caleb was in Alaska, where he was dealing with another group of shapeshifters, and that could be the author's other series, Kodiak Point. I haven't read that series, except that as I was reading this, it sounded really, really familiar. So maybe I have read that series and forgot about it, or maybe it's all starting to blur together in my mind, because I've read way too many of these books. So anyway, Caleb is now coming home. He's got a kind of a iffy relationship with his brother. He's been sending money home to his mom, and that helped pay for his brother's going to college. The house is a lot nicer than when he left. And so he's going to try to rebuild his familiar relationships. Meanwhile, we switch to Rennie's point of view, the old girlfriend that he was really in love with and still carries a thing for. She's a single mom working 2 jobs to make ends meet, and she's got a kid. Caleb is the dad of the kid, and she was send him letters, and Caleb didn't respond to the letters. So I'm guessing that there's some kind of legitimate reason why he wasn't getting the letters or wasn't answering them, and that he never knew he had a son, and he's going to become a good guy, and they're going to live happily ever after, because it's a romance novel. So I'm guessing that's the way it's going to go. This book is very readable. It's like a bag of potato chips. If you like this particular flavor, you might enjoy this book. You probably won't be surprised by it. It probably won't change your life, but you'll have a few enjoyable hours and that little good feeling that comes from having a happy ending. So, I mean, a romantically happy ending in the book. Um, and it's free. So, if this is your thing, check it out. Next, we have the Archeron Inheritance by Ken Lozito, the first of 3 books in the Federation Chronicles space opera series. The other books are $6 each, and the entire series is in Kindle Unlimited. So Nick read this one, and he says the book starts out with a man waking up with no memories, another memory loss book, in the body of an agricultural robot. And it just keeps getting worse. He's got a virtual artificial intelligence companion who tells him that there's other robots who are hunting him. And the agricultural robot is pretty limited in its hardware, so he can't access a lot of his memories. And he winds up running for his life across a post-apocalyptic landscape of volcanic ash and a fallen civilization. So Nick says it starts out strong with lots of action and interesting concepts, and the plotting is good, and there's a compelling and realistic setting right out of the gate. There's a lot of acronyms, so he warns you about being prepared for that. But the story flows along quite nicely once you get over that learning hurdle. He says it's a great book for people who are into power armor or cybernetically enhanced human-machine interfaces, and it's an action adventure, and the pages just turn themselves. So that also sounds like my kind of book, and I might also check it out. Next, we have The Shadow Order by J.S. Malcom, the first of 3 books in the Crossroads Witch urban fantasy series. The other books are $4 each, and the entire series is in Kindle Unlimited. This isn't the first time the author's been on this list. We reviewed a couple of her other books in May and in June. So the story is about Amaya. She's 22. She works in a convenience store where she restocks the shelves. But she lives in a mental health facility because 6 years ago, she was found wandering around by herself with no memory. So that's odd. So we got 3 books out of 10 about memory loss. She picked her name at random, and so she's been lying to her doctors to make them think she's healthier than she is. So for the past year, she's been on a work release kind of thing where she gets to go out and hold a job and then come home at night. And the reason she's lying is because she sees ghosts. So yeah. Meanwhile, there's a string of creepy murders happening in the city. People randomly turn on their loved ones and kill them, then claim to have no memory of what happened. The only thing they remember is the word lacrimore. So, when the book starts, the doctors tell her that she's doing so well that she's going to graduate to a halfway house. But the same night, a fire alarm goes off, and there's a lot of confusion in this mental health facility, and nurses are being killed, and the doctor's running around with a bloody knife in her hand. And Amaya's trying to escape and get people out. And it turns out that if she pushes her hands out, a burst of energy comes out, and she can knock down doors or knock down people, which she didn't know she could do. And outside, there's cops gathering, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. The doctor runs out with that bloody knife, and they try to take her down. And Amaya, for some reason, knocks down the cops with an energy blast and runs off down an alley. So I don't know why she's running away. And in this alley, a portal appears, and there's 2 women in the portal, and one of them tells her to jump through the portal, and she just does. So, so there's a lot of action in this beginning story, and there's humor. I like the author's writing style. It's fun-paced. It's fun, light, and fast paced. But it's a young adult story, and I don't like young adults. It's told in the first person present tense, not my favorite tense. And I wasn't personally caught up in the main character, and I didn't understand why she did the stuff that she was doing. So I wasn't really like immersed in her point of view, even though it's in the first person, because none of the stuff she was doing made sense. But I can see why other people might like this. Like I said, it's very easy to read. It's very fast paced and fun, and it's free, so you can pick up a copy. All right, next we have here we go. Infinity: A Bridger's Origin by Stan C. Smith. Also a repeat on this list. This book was on this list last week. It's the origin story for the six book Bridgers post-apocalyptic series. The other books are $3 to $4 each, and the entire series is in Kindle Unlimited. And the author has had other books on this list as well, so worth checking out. Alex says this is a sci-fi story about people traveling to alternate worlds, and it takes a little while to get going, but he says it's worth the wait. Especially if you like the idea of humans traveling to other realities that's different from our own. So the story is about Passerina and Scotty, two struggling professional fighters who've been recruited and are in training to be bridgers, the people whose job it is to protect travelers to these alternate versions of Earth. And on the first day of training, they find out that their job is a really hard one and can have deadly consequences. So Alex said he read a third of the book in his first sitting, and that he doesn't plan on stopping. He loves the concept, and he definitely plans on reading the whole book. Okay, next we have Path of the Flame by D.K. Holmberg, which I read, and Holmberg, the first of 5 books in the Dragon Thief coming-of-age fantasy series. The other books are $5 each, and the entire series is in Kindle Unlimited. And Holmberg has been on this list before. We've reviewed a bunch of their other books. So the book is set in a fantasy world, kind of Middle Ages style, it feels, in a jungle. So he's a thief. He steals dragon bones from the king and the kingdom's priests and from the kingdom's archaeologists. And also he's looking for evidence of what happened to his parents who disappeared 5 years ago. The world has magic in it and living dragons. And Ty is considering leaving the city to search for his parents elsewhere in the world, but he's worried that what if they come back and he's not there? So he's gonna probably stick around. And it starts out with a pretty exciting scene. He's in the jungle and he steals a dragon claw. And then he returns to the city and breaks into a compound and steals more dragon artifacts. He's got friends in the city. He's got a friend who's another thief, and then he's friends with a fence. And then there's a trader who wants him to leave the city with her on her next trip. He also has an estranged brother living in the city who's a priest. And the priests are worried that there's a volcano nearby and that volcano is going to erupt. So it's a fast-paced story. It's a very easy read. But it didn't personally pull me in, but I can see why other people liked it. Hundreds of people have given it 5-star reviews. So I've read and liked other books by the same author, and he has lots of other fantasy series on Amazon, including some other dragon-themed ones. So if you like his style, there's plenty more to read where this came from, and I might come back and read this. Next we have Broken Chains by Demelza, Carlton, and Amira, you read this one.
Yes, I did. So the first time I read it, I wasn't really into it, and I'm not gonna be coming back. But I think that it's good for what it is. It basically is a romance between a young grad student and a magical gargoyle guardian man. Um, the gargoyle man was buried for years. I'm assuming hundreds of years. I'm sorry, it was a while when I last read this. Hundreds of years ago, he was buried, and he was told that he would awaken when there's a call. And so he does awaken, but he doesn't hear a call. It's just because people are unburying him, right? So he tries to ignore it. And then the protagonist is just randomly gets attacked by someone who accuses her of theft. And so as she's running away from this person, the gargoyle hears her call, and he just comes shooting out of the rocks to go save her. So if that sounds like fun, then I highly recommend this book for you. It wasn't really that fun for me. I don't know, like I think I don't know, I'm not into like I guess I feel like romance on its own is a little bit contrived to me, or it feels that way to me. I like my romance to be on the side of like an adventure or some other kind of story. But yeah, I think I'm just not really like a romance person, reader.
Well, I can't say that I don't sympathize. All right. So next is a book that I read. That's not it. We just did that one. Here we go. The Lost Siren by Raven Storm. The first of 5 books in the Rise of the Drakons paranormal reverse harem romance series. Another romance. The other books are $4 to $5 each, but they're not in Kindle Unlimited. The 5th book is scheduled to be released in October and is available for pre-order. So, like I said, I'm not a fan of romance. And this is a reverse harem romance, which I'm like doubly not a fan of. So, in a reverse harem, the female protagonist gets to have multiple boyfriends at the same time, which I can see why that could be a romantic fantasy. Why choose between the handsome werewolf and the gorgeous vampire when you can have both of them? Why not? Right? But logistically, it sounds like so complicated and annoying to deal with that. So I can't really get into it. But anyway, putting all that potential drama aside, the book starts out with Ren, who's a slave of a vampire in a fantasy world where humans are prey for the vampires. And it's not a particularly nice upbringing. She's regularly beaten and sold off, and is worried about being sold off to somebody else, like to another vampire or a demon. Then a handsome man shows up, not a vampire, but not human, and offers her the opportunity to come with him. And so she has no idea who this guy is, where he shows up from, but she's like, okay. And he carries her away. He's got wings, and they fly away together. So it all happens like really, really fast. So we don't really have any good sense of her character or who this guy is or why she'd like leave her vampire owner with this total stranger. I don't like the idea of slavery either. I don't like this thing where a handsome man shows up and you'll just like drop everything to fly away with him, literally. So it's not my kind of thing, but I guess it's other people's kind of thing, and it's free. So, why not? All right. So there you go. 10 free books. And yeah, I picked the wrong ones. I should have read those other 2 books instead of the ones that I had, but it's really hard to get Alex and Nick to read the romances with the naked chests on the cover. I don't know why. You know. Anyway, most of those books do tend to be half from the male point of view. And the one with the shape-shifting crocodile started out with a male protagonist. So I don't see why guys can't get into that. Anyway, so that's it for today's list. Let us know what you thought. Do you have other books for us to read? Have you read these books? Are you planning to? Let us know in the comments below. And check the link in the description box for the full article. And subscribe and like and all the other stuff so you don't miss any of our Free Friday episodes. Thanks, AMIRA, for joining me.
My pleasure always.
And thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you guys next Friday. Bye.
Bye.